12 years ago, when he was just 18 and dreaming of a future with his high school sweetheart, Colin Creed learned something about himself. Something so disturbing he left Disciple to join the Marines and didn't once look back. But all that came to a screeching halt with the congressional hearings, forcing Colin to return home and rebuild his Black Ops empire brick by brick. Loing McBride's heart broke when Colin shut her out and left town without an explanation just as they were getting ready to start their adult lives together. The death of her mother the following year was a make-or-break moment, and Loing rose to the occasion, giving up her university education to parent her younger sister while building an empire of her own as a specialty antiques dealer. Anger and desire, guilt and shame, the return of the enigmatic Colin Creed ignites the town and sparks an explosion of emotions inside Loing. But he's not the only one with a secret in his past. I'm falling in love with a firefighter, and I'm pregnant. Big problem, it's not his baby. When I met Griffin Cannon, I fainted. He saved me from face-planting into the gravel. He's the rescue-eye, protective type, which fits seeing as he's a hotshot firefighter. I didn't think I'd ever see him after that. Until he saves me again. Just when I think maybe fate is trying to throw me into his arms, my life skids sideways in a big way. I'm pregnant. The guy who should step up skips town instead. Scrambling, I accept a new job and move. I figure Griffin is in my rearview mirror, yet fate brings him back into my life. I'm working for his brother, and Griffin's the newest smoking hot firefighter in town. He can have any woman he wants, while I'm busy learning how to live without sleep and win awards for the most frumpy single mom ever. And yet, Griffin wants to cook me dinner. From changing diapers to so much more, he's there as I stumble through the stressfest of my life. I don't even believe in love. But when a firefighter with a heart of gold does the dishes, it's near impossible to resist. From frenemies to fake fiancés, what could possibly go wrong? Jay is a control freak with an ego bigger than Manhattan and a smirk that makes me want to slap it off his absurdly handsome face. Once my best friend, now my overbearing boss, Jay pushed me to the brink. So, I quit. Or at least I tried to. Jay, the devil in designer suits, digs up a contract clause that chains me to him for another 6 months. Just when I think things can't get worse, he drops his latest. He wants me to be his fake fiancé. Now, I'm stuck playing house with the man who tops my nemesis list. Each staged kiss and faux embrace blurs the lines, making me question what's real and what's just part of the act. And to make things even more confusing, Jay might be an arrogant boss at work, but as my fake fiancé, he's turning into something else entirely. Something dangerously close to the man I once loved. At 18, I was forced to marry so I could pay my college tuition. Enter Caleb Cunningham, my best friend's brother and Navy SEAL. I needed my inheritance, he needed money to cover his dad's hospital bills. It seemed like a win-win. The marriage didn't last, but that's okay. It was a marriage of convenience. At least, that's what I told myself. Over a decade later, Grandma's still pulling the strings from beyond the grave. Her last wish. For me to live with my estranged husband for 6 months, or I lose everything, my company and my employees' livelihoods included. Now, I'm stuck with Caleb, the rugged, infuriating, and the man who once broke my heart. The deal is simple. He'll stay with me for the next 6 months as long as I give him, well, everything. He wants control. He wants my grandmother's penthouse. And, of course, he wants the Bentley. Caleb seems determined to make my life hell, and is enjoying every minute of it. But if he thinks I'm going down without a fight, he's got another thing coming. It takes 2 to make a marriage, and it'll take 2 to crash it into the ground. Kirsty Munro's return to her Scottish hometown after years in London wasn't part of her plan. Neither was falling for her first boyfriend all over again. When family duty calls, the journalist finds herself temporarily managing her parents' cafe in the small town of Cairnhaven on the Aberdeenshire coast. That's not the only thing she finds. Back from his offshore job is Connor Bannerman, her first love and the first man who ever broke her heart. He's single, he's lonely, and he's still in love with Kirsty. Grappling with his own regrets, Connor is determined to make up for his betrayal. But he can't tell Kirsty how he really feels. ever. Thrust back into each other's lives, they are forced to confront the unresolved tensions and the tender memories of their shared history. Amidst the picturesque backdrop of Cairnhaven, Kirsty must navigate the changed landscapes of both her hometown and her heart, deciding if she wants to return to London. And Connor must learn to forgive himself before it's too late and he loses her again, forever. I made a horrible mistake. At my class reunion, I kissed Owen Conrad, my sworn enemy of over 10 years. The former baseball player is my opposite in every way. Where I'm organized and considerate of others, he's chaotic and selfish. Where I'm polite and dependable, he's brash and flaky. The one thing we have in common is that we're both teachers at Sapphire Creek High School, so I can add co-workers to the list of reasons I should not have kissed him. I blame the champagne, but he doesn't buy it. No matter how hard I try to convince him to pretend it never happened, Owen refuses to forget it. He insists there's something between us, a spark worth exploring. And it's not long before I have to admit he's right. The laid-back giant with a boyish, lopsided smirk is actually very generous and fun. He also knows me surprisingly well and sees beyond the walls I've built around my heart. When I'm with him, I'm more than schedules and rulebooks. But no matter how charming he is, it doesn't change our professional dilemma. It's taken me years to establish an impeccable reputation and a well-rounded career for a promotion I desperately want and deserve. A relationship with Owen would put everything I've worked for at stake. Is an unexpected love worth the risk? Ricky Dunn is the equivalent to a splinter under my fingernail. He's the older brother of my best friend, and no matter how hard either of us try, we can't seem to avoid each other. The problem started on the night my best friend and I graduated from high school. The party was joyous, a celebration. That night, I willingly gave Ricky a part of me more than the kiss we told others about. Our deal was simple. No strings. Ricky kept his side of the bargain. Years have passed. Being from the same small town and crossing paths, I haven't noticed how handsome he's become or the way he's filled out. If you ask me, he hasn't noticed me either. Until he calls. I'm working for a finance company, one he's now interviewing for. Marilyn, will you be my date for the dinner with the partners? It's only for one date and no strings. The problem is my heart hasn't kept my side of our bargain. I want at least one string. Do I agree to his proposal, or do I turn him down flat? I've been with the same man since I was 16 years old. Somewhere along the way, I lost myself to being the perfect wife and mother. Months ago, I finally mustered up the courage to ask him for a divorce, but I never really got out from under his thumb. So when my mother falls sick, my 4-year-old son and I head back to where it all began, Haven Bay. Jobless, broke, and with an impending custody battle breathing down my neck, the last thing I need is a new relationship. So, when my childhood best friend comes back into my life, I vow to keep it platonic. He's always had a piece of my heart, but I won't risk losing myself to another man. I can't. Can I?